Just a quick reminder guys, these narrations are best enjoyed with headphones on.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your emulators. And it's time for another episode of RetrOS, the show where we give you recommended dose of nostalgia by reviewing games from your childhood. This is Tails 9 here from Sonic Prime. Once again, the emphasis is on the 9. And on this episode, we take a look at yet another one of the N64 library's most recognizable titles. Does this game deserve the credit it received from the community, or should this game be lost forever in the pages of gaming history? Well, without further ado, let's find out. So, this review of Mario Kart 64 is a follow-up to our previous review of Star Fox 64, and is requested by a friend from our local karaoke night, Ted, the Hero of Time. So anyway, back to the review. The Mario Kart series is yet another franchise Nintendo has in their portfolio. The first game of the series was released on September 1st, 1992 in Japan, or January 21st, 1993 over here in Europe, for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, or Super Famicom over there in Japan. Now, Super Mario Kart went on to become the fourth best-selling game of the SNES games library. So, the sequel to that title was, of course, Mario Kart 64, released on December 14th, 1996 in Japan, or June 13th, 1997 over here in the UK. Now, this particular title went on to become the second best-selling game of the N64's library. Similar to a lot of racing games in the 90s, this game has no specific plot whatsoever. So, you pick a racer from a roster of characters and take to the track, and in fast-paced, no-holds-barred competition for first place. Okay everyone, the accessibility scores are as follows. To kick things off, visibility, I scored an 8.5. Due to the game's age, there are no colorblind modes present in this game, but to be honest, there is very little need for one. The only possible issue that a colorblind player would be facing is two specific weapons appearing in the game. Now, in this game there are two types of shells. Green shells are your standard throwable weapon. When a green shell is fired, it moves on a straight line. Red shells, on the other hand, automatically hold into the nearest racer. For a colorblind player, this can be very difficult to differentiate between the two. As we all know, red and green is a definite no-no when it comes to colorblind players. So, it's a glaring issue, but not game-breaking. Other than that, this game is playable for players with visual impairments. Next up, audibility, I gave it 10. In this game, there is very little spoken dialogue. Again, this is entirely due to the game's age and the size limitations of an N64 cartridge. So in retrospect, I play with a hearing impairment that can play this game with virtually no issues. Next up, mobility, I scored a reasonably low 7. In the standard N64 version of the game, there is no way to customize your control layouts when playing this game. Due to the sheer size of a standard N64 controller, this is extremely important. On the other hand, this game is fairly easy to play. Use of any weapons is done by the Z trigger, located to the rear of the N64 controller. Alternatively, you can use C down to use weapons as well. You use the analog stick to steer, A to accelerate, B is your brake, hop, and while you're steering, drift. Drifting is extremely important in Mario Kart, as drifting grants you a small speed boost. The longer the drift, the better the boost. So, despite the shortfalls, this game is playable for a player with a mobility impairment, but the lack of the customization options is still a glaring issue. And last but certainly by no means least, gameplay, it gave it 10.5. In short, this game is a worthy successor to the genre-defining Super Mario Kart for the SNES. The N64 was a significant jump in hardware power from the Super NES. and the gameplay shows that. For N64 standards, this game is looking pretty impressive, with the sheer amount of memorable tracks, which appeared later titles in the series, is massive and diverse, even for N64 standards. From the tight cliff edges of Yoshi Valley, to the wide open roads for Calamari Desert, to the legendary Rainbow Road. A sample of this iconic theme has been consistently reappearing in future iterations of future titles in this series. Good times, everyone. Good times. Anyway, so my main criticism of this game is the single player content seems a little lackluster. When you're playing in single player, there are only two modes available to you, Grand Prix and Time Trial, and that's it. However, when the real fun starts when you have your friends over, taking each other on in split screen multiplayer mayhem. So bearing in mind, guys, the N64 was the very first console to feature multiplayer support for up to 4 controllers. Yes, there is the multi-tap, but Nintendo did it first. The game's time channel mode allowed you to store ghosts set by previous players in a small memory card, which could be plugged to the rear of the controller pack. That way you could duke it out by previous runs from other users of the game to have the best time on that particular course on your block or family. So, in summary, Mario Kart 64 is a legendary title in itself. The game was built on the foundations which that Super Mario Kart did in the same relationship that Doom had with Wolfenstein 3D. The game set the standard of how a traditional kart racer should play like. So, when you're enjoying Sonic Racing Cross World playing as yours truly, think of Mario Kart 64. So, if I were forced to pick an N64 title which can be played with your family or friends on Christmas Day, James and I would most definitely pick this game. And the overall score is a highly impressive 90%. Okay, this is Tails9 here, assistant head of RetrOS signing off, and I will see you guys in the next review.